Good morning, good afternoon, and if you're coming home from working a long 9 to 5, I hope you're having a great one as we bring to you the first WWE PLE post show of Bodyslam.net. I am your host, as always, Rami Afif. Well, not as always, but I get me. Of course, I'm Rami Afif, and of course, joining me, as always, is the great and always almighty Max Dinnenberg. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. Feel very mixed on the show. I think we were talking all week, Rami, about if this would be a ranty post show for us. It might get into that towards when we talk about the main event, but happy to be with you. We had a really fun and good 2025. I'm excited for our post shows here in 2026, my friend.
Of course, of course, of course. You know, we were talking about this for the last month that when we finally get here, we're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble. It's going to be an early card. I didn't necessarily thought that this would be a card at 6 in the morning, West Coast time, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Thankfully, they started this off at 11 a.m. 9 a.m. was the pre-show, which we were advertised matches. We saw some advertised matches, and then we didn't get to see those. So I was kind of a little bit bummed out because it feels like it's been about like 2, 3 years since we've been able to actually see some pre-show matches.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
of course, Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. What a time! What a great show! And not really great show.
I
I
wouldn't
want
say
to
that.
say that like it. I wouldn't say a great show. I would say a great outcome for the women's side. But of course, we're gonna get into that just soon. Um, but of course, how was your weekend? How was your week? How did you feel heading into this event with all the matches that had us lined up?
I gotta be honest, I was really excited for the show. Like, even as someone who, again, I watch the product every week and every day, but I was still very optimistic. They had, I thought, a big chance to really, especially on the men's side, go really young with the main event scene and pull the trigger on someone who maybe some people say are too young and they have to wait for their moment. It felt like a time that this could be, I think we talked about this on the post shows last year, Rami. It felt like a year where it could be like the year of the young guys. If that's a Javon Evans, if that's an Obafemi, if that's a Braun Breaker, in the main event scene, winning a world title at WrestleMania. But coming off of this show on the men's side, I think the women's choice was really exciting. I thought Gunther and AJ Styles, we'll talk about that as well, but I thought this could have been a night of sparking, making a new big star by a huge win, not just having a good performance in a Royal Rumble, like getting a win. And we're ending the show and we're going to have mostly over 40-year-olds again in the main event. See, I think a lot of us thought they could go young because we think next year they're going to rely a lot on the legends for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia next year. So I thought this could have been a year, try some things, take a risk at this WrestleMania, but they're going back to kind of the same old in the main event scene, which is kind of disappointing in my opinion.
Your opinion's not wrong though, because the thing is, a couple of years ago, we were talking about how much we did not like the legends being so heavily involved this type of stuff back in like I believe 2017 or 2018. I remember
Yeah.
they heavy Undertaker, Goldberg, all these like different types of people involved, just to
Yep.
be able to get people to watch and tune in. But we watch and we tune in because we see the future of professional wrestling and we want to be able to, see what they can put out there. But then we get these shining moments like we did today, and then it kind of feels like it's all for nothing at the end of the day because, it just goes back to the same person that they feel is right for the picking, that is right for the main event. But of course, let's get ourselves headed into this
Yeah.
30 Royal Rumble event. Uh, we started off with the women's Royal Rumble, and I really did enjoy that they continue this trend of if you're the winner, you have to start off number one because of just how intense
Yeah.
that this Royal Rumble can be. My favorite one was 2008 when Undertaker and Shawn Michaels went from ending the Rumble the year prior to now starting it up. I've always enjoyed that type of situation scenario. We got it this year with Charlotte Flair opening up the Royal Rumble, and then alongside came out Alexa Bliss, which
Yeah.
at first I thought, oh, we're gonna get these two fighting each other like we did, Matt and Jeff Hardy back in the, those like, little sibling rivalry in a sense, but that was not the case. They waited it out. They got Kiana James in there, and of course, as the entrance came out, we had Nia Jax come out. She had, her big moments and whatnot, looking more fit and more lean, not saying anything like, about, stuff. But Ivy Nile came out, and of course I really do enjoy that she gets the same kind of like treatment that the rest of the American alphas or American made people get.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle. She came in there, a bunch of German suplexes, showing off her strengths, and we've seen how crazy strong that Ivy Nile is. So being able to see her featured in this was nice. Lola Vice came out, a really big fan favorite of everybody's from NXT and main roster. People who are watching her came out, had a big pop. Candice LeRae. There's certain, I want to say this, with Candice LeRae and with certain people's music, like Kiana James as well, it's
Yeah.
hard to know who's coming out because a lot of their music, it either has like this little voice intro like Charlotte Flair's All Hail the Queen, and then it just sounds like some like mashed up music you find on YouTube from like the copyright free section. But Jordan
Yeah.
Grace came out, and another one.
Sorry, I just want to add too. I watched The Friend, and he watches WWE a lot, and he still had to ask me who was coming out sometimes. Like, you really have no idea. Some of these songs, like, you just have no idea who's coming out unless you're like religious on the product. Like, unless like Lash Legend says Last Legend at the beginning of her song. Like, some of these people just like, especially like Candace. Like, what is that song that they gave her? Like, I literally was like, what is this?
Same thing with Jordan Grace up next. Like Jordan is such a powerhouse. She's a beast. But then her music came out. I'm like, I don't understand this, dude. Becky Lynch came out, which I like that Becky Lynch came out as soon as we had that spot where Nia got eliminated along with Alexa Bliss and Charlotte couldn't save her. Like that was that big like, oh my God moment. And then Becky comes out, former best friends turned a bit of rivals. Last time they saw each other was War Games, and then they duke it out with each other. Sol Ruka came out, amazing performance from Sol Ruka this whole show. Like her and of course Liv Morgan, I feel like we're just like 1-1. Which then up next, Roxanne Perez rocking the She-Go fit. Of course, big fan favorite of hers. Last year she started at number 2. She made it to the final 2. And of course, this past year has been like just trials and tribulations, learning process of getting to the main roster and seeing how everything is because she's lost a lot of matches, but she's also still shown how greatly improved she has become adapting to the main roster talent. Maxine Dupree came out. Immediately when Maxine Dupree came out, I looked at my pops and I was like, dude, Daddy's coming out next. And he's like, you sure? I'm like, I know how Rumble's going nowadays. You know what I mean? Like the whole feuds that they usually pick out, they're like, all right, if you see this person come out, next person most likely is going to be feuding with them. Natty the low-key legend came out. I love the new music for her, of course. I was hoping that they still keep the Heart intro, but then transition to something different. I was hoping she'd get, Killing in the Yeah, exactly. That's why I was hoping, and I got it.
Yeah.
And then I was hoping that she'd get Killing in the Name of, but of course, WWE is not going to reach out whenever we know what kind of company they are. And especially for a song like that. Then up next was Liv Morgan at number 14. Lash Legend came out up next after, and wow, 5 eliminations she had. She dropped everybody. She was kicking so much ass. It was an insane mark from her. Went from eliminating Charlotte Flair to to Jordan Grace to later on down the line Io Sky and more. But of course, Last Legend comes out, Zelina Vega comes out. Zelina's was a little bit confusing as well, her music, because I noticed because of the Titantron. I'm like, okay, again, Raquel Rodriguez, I've heard her music millions of times, so I'm like, okay. Chelsea Green, I love Chelsea's pop that she got, and of course, I was hoping that when Chelsea came out and then we had Alba Fire get eliminated, that they would have said that the next entrant is Alba Fire. Like, and you just got eliminated, and she's like, wait a minute, I'm in this. But I also love the spot that they did where Chelsea got eliminated, but she's standing on Alba's back and staying in the Rumble. I'm like, some very, very unique stuff. I'm like, Kofi Kingston, watch out, she's taking your job.
Yeah.
Julia came out next. Io Sky, Asuka, Rhea Ripley got the big pop. Bailey, of course. JC Jane, I feel like was like a very big, oh my God, like I didn't expect that to happen. Even though she is the NXT Women's Champion, I didn't expect it. But then she had really nice performance. Even though she had 1 elimination, I think that, she still showed that I'm the NXT Women's World Champion. And, you keep your eyes on me. Up next, Nikki Bella. As soon as I saw Nikki Bella come out, and then I saw a report early in the day, I'm like, okay, it might happen now. But of course, Lyra Valkyria comes up next, one half of her teams with Bailey. Uh, they eliminated Julia together, which I was like, okay, that's good. That's good. Eliminate the top talent right there.
Sure.
Kaylani Jordan from NXT came out. Didn't really have a big showing, but she had some fun moves to put in there. Then modified Phoenix Splash was nice, but then
That was
of course
nice.
she got eliminated not too long after. She got eliminated not too long after, of course.
Yeah.
Kairi Sane came in. That was I was hoping that something bad would happen between her and Asuka, and then when she got her eliminated, I was like, okay, this is perfect. And the turnaround, Asuka is like has that little cane type of effect where she looks at you and like she's gonna burn a hole through your chest.
Yeah.
Then up next, what everybody I feel like the whole certain side of the IWC was waiting for it, and they definitely got Brie Bella is officially back. Her and Nikki were kicking some ass. They got some eliminations, but then they both got eliminated by Last Legend,
Yep.
which I was shocked by. But I'm so happy that we got to see that moment back. And of course, a yes chance. Like I was like, okay, hell yeah! Like come on, go ahead, mention her man, who main evented Wembley Stadium not too long ago.
They did not. They said it was the
no,
it kicks that she was using that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you might as well just bring up Maurice. But then number 30, I thought it was gonna be Bianca Belair. I legit was like, okay, Bianca's up next. Let's go.
Yeah.
But then we got Tiffany Stratton back. First time seeing her since this past November, when she lost the championship to Jade Cargill at Saturday Night Main Event, which was the same night CM Punk, I believe, won the World Championship from like Jey Uso or something. I don't know if I'm wrong, or it might be,
That sounds right.
It seems like it might be right, but like that was a weird Saturday Night Main Event. But then I'm glad that Tiffany took some time off to rehab her injuries, get things back in place, and she looked real good out there. Got back with strength and looked like she was back at 100 with the neck strength. But of course, in the end,
you're right. By the way, her last match was Saturday Night's Main Event, 5-minute match against Jade. Yeah, so that was the last match. So that was on. Yeah, that was a while ago. So yeah, so you're correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then afterwards, well, we got the final three being Sol Ruka, Tiffany Stratton, and Liv Morgan. And the whole time, I'm just like, please God, don't fuck me over. 3 years in a row now, I've been begging the gods just to give freaking Liv Morgan this chance. Yeah. And then we finally freaking got it. Sol Ruka gets out first. She tries to do that what do you call it, snatcher out to the outside and everything, for Tiffany. Tiffany got her out. Oblivion gets hit, which I want to say my favorite Oblivion that was hit tonight was the one on Nadia to eliminate her. I thought that was such a very, very explosive way. I thought both women killed it. But in the end, Liv Morgan wins it from number 14 to the final person in the ring. She finally wins the Women's Royal Rumble and will earn herself a shot either against Jade Cargill or against Kairi Sane, against Io Sky.
So Stephanie Vaquer.
It's Stephanie Vaquer. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Stephanie Vaquer. Hey, see, I messed up there because I was looking at so many different names right here, so I just had it in my head. My apologies there. Stephanie Vaquer against Liv Morgan, freaking all-star matchup right there. Whichever way you put it, Liv Morgan is gonna get back a championship the way that I see it. But she did eliminate Raquel, so there's a huge thing of betrayal is on everyone's mind now. We could see a big betrayal happen at WrestleMania where Raquel just backstabs Liv Morgan and maybe brings Roxanne Perez by her side. But it's all going to depend on how Monday night goes when Raw's in Philadelphia for the street fight. And plus, that as well, like Raquel is mad, even though she has a street fight with Stephanie for the championship. So if she would have won the Rumble, she would have pulled I'm going to fight Jade Cargill for the championship now, brother.
Title for title.
You can't do that. You can't do that. So I'm very happy what we got in the end. It was nice. Liv Morgan won an hour and 7 minutes. The entrance felt like it was a little bit rushed, but rightfully so because those freaking suits must have been draining on the women. But of course, what were your thoughts on this? I know that you've been rooting for Liv Morgan to win this, and of course, it was a perfect choice for the both of us. But give me your thoughts on how you feel.
Yeah, I feel really good about this. I don't need a boatload of returns if you have a really good ending. And I thought the women, the way it was booked, the final three women was really, really well done. Liv, Sol, and Tiffany worked really fast paced, and it felt really exciting. They were all at the very, edge of the ring. You're kind of thinking of all these crazy moves that were going to be hit. But again, I think, I'm sad that I guess Bianca wasn't in this match, which probably doesn't mean things are great because she hasn't wrestled, I don't think, since WrestleMania last year. If I'm not mistaken, that's her last match. And then Tiffany hasn't wrestled since November, so it's good to see Tiffany back in the mix. SmackDown really needs more women at the top of the card. But I think I'm really happy for Liv. We've talked about this here as well. She's been someone who has been really the main character of the women's division for over a year now. And they've had her work so much that she got, injured last year. They have her in tag team storylines at the same time as single storylines. She has the Dominic stuff as well. So I do think they're going to keep Judgment Day intact, I think, throughout heading into WrestleMania. We didn't get Finn Balor in the men's Royal Rumble. We didn't get Dom in the Royal Rumble. So I do think they're going to keep the Judgment Day thing going. Because I think Liv and Roxanne are a really good tag team, but I do think they're going to move on from that and do Roxanne and Raquel again, and then have Liv do single stuff. But I think the intrigue is still going to be the Judgment Day moving forward. Like Liv now looks like the clear leader of the group. With Dom is out with injury. Finn lost a title match. Raquel's going to lose a title match on Monday here in Philly. So there's going to be good dilemma here. I thought the beginning of the match, I think it took a while for things to really get going in this match. But once it got going towards the back half, I really enjoyed it. I think Sol deserved to get the spotlight from the NXT. I thought JC had her moments. Kalani had her moments, but they really wanted to focus on Sol. So I wouldn't be shocked if she's a call-up post-Mania call-up. But again, Roxanne was in NXT when she was in there for over an hour, and it took a long time to get her officially called up. So who knows? But I thought it was a really unique ending, and I thought Liv really, really deserved it. She's been one of the most hardworking people. She's been in the main storylines for 2 straight years now, basically, or 3 years at this point. And she hasn't gotten a WrestleMania moment at all in the last couple years. So she's going to get a big singles match. And I think, as you're right, I think she has a great chance to win the title at WrestleMania.
Another thing as well is that if they were planning on it this Monday, they could honestly take the title off of Stephanie, even though it would be a crazy pull. But I feel like having that Raquel and Liv Morgan matchup at WrestleMania really builds into the whole story of whose side is Roxanne Perez gonna pick? Because then you right there, she's Pamela Anderson trying to root for Diesel and Shawn Michaels, and then all of a sudden we're trying to wonder ourselves out who's gonna win it. And Liv is the automatic big favorite, I feel, out of the whole thing to win the championship. But you put Raquel against her, and all the freaking chips on the table stack up, and people start tuning in more and more. So honest to God, I feel like any option they do, whether it's Stephanie or whether it's Raquel, I think that Liv Morgan's gonna have a banger of a match. But next up, hey.
Oh, sorry, I just want to say too. I still think there needs to be a point where I still think they want to get to, if she's healthy, a Bianca Jade WrestleMania match. They could have Bianca win the Chamber to do that. That's why I always thought I didn't want Bianca to win the Rumble. I think she could dominate the Chamber, set her up against Jade for that WrestleMania match, and have Liv do something with Stephanie, for example, or even Raquel, as you said. I think that's
because she was the runner up this past year against Liv Morgan. Liv, Liv was supposed to win it, and then Bianca won it. Or what was the case there? I forgot who won the
that was 2 years ago.
Chamber match this past February.
Yeah, Liv was in that match. I'm just trying to remember.
Okay. Yeah, Bianca won it by pinning Liv because Bianca fought. She was supposed to fight Rhea, then Io won the championship, and then we got that triple threat, and then it was okay. But I think that could happen again, where Bianca wins another Chamber match, and then we can be able to get her and Jade Cargill in the match. But of course, up next was the career-threatening match: Gunther versus AJ Styles. If AJ had lost, he was forced to retire from in-ring competition. And 24 minutes of just true, authentic, great powerhouse wrestling from both sides: speed, power, technicality, everything of it. And honestly, when these two lock up, it's always amazing time. You know what I mean? But you don't want it to be the last time of AJ Styles' career, and that's what we witnessed. we witnessed AJ Styles put on one of his best performances in the WWE. You know, this match could have been at WrestleMania to give him another one of those like big WrestleMania matches, but they didn't. They decided that Royal Rumble would be the time to call it quits for AJ Styles' career, and Gunther, just like he did to the rest of them,
Yeah.
choked out AJ Styles, just like the legend, and ended his career. AJ Styles is no longer a WWE superstar, but that doesn't mean that we can't see him in the Impact Zone anytime soon. But just wild. Like I wasn't ready to lose Cena because I wanted more dates for him
Sure.
and everything last year. And then I was like, you know what? Fine, I'll take it. If he beats Goldberg, cool. He beats Cena, I'll understand the story. And then they end AJ's career like this. They're like, all right, guys, we might have to have a retirement tour for AJ. He's just too damn good. And then they're like, yeah, we don't have anybody for you. Would you like to feud with the New Day? Like, and I mean this in the most respectful way too, because I like the New Day. But like nobody's
Sure.
built up anymore. There's no more stars in WWE anymore. There's no more guys that were like, okay, hell, AJ Styles versus CM Punk, we got it on Monday. And then we think to ourselves, oh, we're going to get that extra matchup between it, maybe even a triple threat between
Yeah.
Finn, Punk, and AJ. Didn't even get that. And then AJ Styles loses to Gunther in this way. And then the main event was what we saw it was. And we're like, again, if you're going to build off the momentum of somebody, you build it off. You freaking take the freaking wheel and you keep going. It's Daytona 500. You got 300 laps to freaking go. You're in first place. Keep fucking going. Turn left, turn left, turn left, and keep it goddamn going. But Gunther versus AJ Styles, the first match was amazing. Like the fact that we saw the Harlem Hangover done from AJ Styles onto the freaking leg of Gunther. I was like, brother, you're pulling out stuff that I do in TNA Impact, the video game, and all of this bitch. But for us to see a rematch and me hoping that AJ would submit him and then Gunther would go on to win the Royal Rumble. I'd be like, okay, I can understand that and accept that if they want to have that happen. But that was not the case. Even though it was an amazing match, truly, like you cannot say like, oh, this match was like not that good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was
I
really
thought.
good, and we're not gonna say. Go on.
No, you go, Rami. Finish your point.
No, we're not gonna be like, oh, AJ and Gunther can't put on a great match. They're gonna put on a really good match, a really solid matchup, and everything. But it's the fact that going forward into the future, now for the rest of the year in a guy's retirement tour, we're not gonna be able to see him wrestle like certain talent anymore. We're not gonna get that one last matchup with Rey Mysterio. We're not gonna get that one last matchup with Kofi Kingston. And I have people say, "Wow, Kofi Kingston in 2026." Yeah, motherfucker, because I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a today's freaking era fan and whatnot, where I'm going to count only the person's current gimmick as what they are for the whole career. But there is so many talent and there's so many people that we could have seen AJ Styles go against, like
Sure.
Randy Orton or Cody Rhodes or any of them, even Roman Reigns again. Like I would like to see those matches, Ilya Dragunov, but we will not. But a lot of people have their speculations and their words and choices of what AJ Styles could be doing next. Could he be going to TNA? Could he be going to AEW? Could he be going to Japan? I would like to see him do all three. You know what I mean? Just have some dream matches here and there, whatever, and then end off on your terms in your way. Because if he loses his retirement match or his final match, essentially not really final match as we say, but like for a true professional, if he loses it, okay, it's understandable. But in the case of this, I'm really hoping this is not the last time that we see of AJ Styles, and I'm hoping that it leads to another promotion picking him up just for the next maybe 6 months to maybe seven, 6, 7. But what were your thoughts on, of course, this matchup?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was way better than their Raw match. I thought it was. I thought they were setting up some more ref bumps. They were not. But I think AJ. Again, he's not retiring for a reason at this point. He's still so good. Still hits that 450 really clean in the match. Gunther just beat the crap out of him. He hit like 20, 25 chops. He kept asking you, like, are you done? Are you done? I just love the slow, methodical, I'm just going to beat your ass style that Gunther wrestles. And I think it's very impressive. I am all for Gunther winning again. And that's coming from the number one AJ Styles fan, me. I think it was the right decision. I think Gunther, you just he's now technically ended the career of 3 guys in WWE. You don't want to like halt that to begin the year. He has so much real heat. He was just at the post show, by the way, on the post show right now. He got FU chants from the crowd. He's getting really good heat. And he's believable as one of the top pro wrestlers they have. That's why I would have, again, we'll talk about this later, should have had him win the Rumble. But I think AJ obviously sent a message that he did not leave his boots. He did not leave his gloves in the ring. I do think, like, some people just want the TNA thing to happen. I think that's kind of done. He's done the 2 appearances. There's not really a match. I'm dying. Like, I don't think he needs like another match in TNA. I do think the AEW thing is a real possibility, to a point where I've already like fantasy booked AJ Styles to a point where I think in LA, I think they're going to have Kenny Omega beat MJF. And I think a great way to end that show is AJ Styles, Kenny Omega face off, end the show with two of the most important guys in pro wrestling of the last 15 years. And again, Ospreay tweeted something today. Mercedes tweeted, like, are the rumors true? Hopefully the rumors are true. I think a lot of people feel like he is going to AEW. Now, again, I said Revolution. That gives him a month and a half off from wrestling, so he can take a break, do his thing. Again, AEW, he doesn't have to wrestle every week. He doesn't have to, he can only go to work once a week. So I do think there's a real benefit of he hasn't wrestled a lot of guys on that roster, but he has history with like Samoa Joe and Jon Moxley and Okada and Kenny, where you could run back some feuds, start some new ones with like Hangman and Swerve, who he's never wrestled before. So I hopefully AJ maybe goes to AEW. I think New Japan also, with that relationship, he could get a couple more matches in Japan if he wants. I just think for me, just going to TNA for the rest of the year would be like for me, like a major step back. Like I would rather him just retire now than have like a whole 8-month run in TNA. Like I'm not going to be a jerk. I watch TNA every week.
Hey man, don't tell the TNA fanboys that they want to see Kazarian versus AJ Styles so bad. Yeah. They're like, oh, that's a dream match, brother.
Yeah, I don't think I need to see that. And also, no offense to the viewer, I think AEW would make a lot of sense. He can take another month and a half off, be a big surprise at the end of Revolution. Because again, he did not retire tonight. He said in multiple promos this was going to be the end of his WWE career, not his wrestling career. That's why he didn't leave the boots in the ring. So that's why I wasn't sad at all when AJ lost this match. I'm very excited for. He did a good job. He put Gunther over. He had a couple dream matches. Like he got to redo the Nakamura match, which was way better than his WrestleMania match at 34. So he's had some good moments the last month or so. AJ, he got to wrestle CM Punk last week on Raw. He wrestled Nakamura. He's had his moments the last month. I just think he did everything respectfully on the way out. But I do think if he wants to have like a good 8-month run, maybe into the Tokyo Dome in January to end his career, who knows? But I think I am very excited to see what the future holds for AJ Styles because thankfully I don't think he's retiring today.
Yeah, and now you mentioned like him potentially showing up in LA at Revolution, confronting Kenny Omega. Like that would be like the most biggest full circle moment after the betrayal that we saw many years ago. Like what, a decade ago almost. Almost like 11 years, because it's a couple of months maybe or so.
Yeah.
But we saw that big betrayal between Kenny Omega becoming the leader of Bullet Club and kicking out AJ Styles before he ended up in WWE. And now if I'm at this show for AEW, and I get to witness that, I will literally explode like on fucking Impact. Like anyone who looks at me will see my face go red and it explode, blood everywhere, gore, all that type of stuff. Terrifier edition. But hi guys.
I would record it, Rami. You got to record yourself if Kenny wins and he's in the ring celebrating. You got to start recording yourself and wait for the AJ. I want to see your reaction. Post it on Bodyslam. Like I want to see it, Rami.
Deadass, you can just see my fucking tears in my fucking eyes and everything, all crying. Like, look at this pussy crying off of pro wrestling. Like,
yes, we all want to see. I
wait.
want to see your reaction of a possible debut in AEW for AJ Styles. Yes,
deadass. But next up matchup was for the undisputed WWE Championship. 16-minute matchup between Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn. And this was a much different Sami Zayn that we've seen in the past. He had a lot of good offense going into this one, but a lot of good resilience and durability. He took so much of a beating, but was able to kick out of 3 Future Shock DDTs. He was able to get his foot up on the rope after the Claymore, and then he even took an additional, like, he took 3 Future Shock DDTs and 3 Claymores to be able to beat Sami Zayn tonight.
Mhm.
And there was so much that happened in between that. Like, this match was really nice. It was nice to see Drew McIntyre get that fresh matchup. And people are like, oh, but he's 0-11 against Drew McIntyre. You expected him to win? Of course I did. Because when the Usos were on top of the world and beating every single tag team in the entire world, including your favorite Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura, everybody was assuming, like, oh, what are we gonna see? You know, the Usos lose the championships, and it had to be the dream team of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. That's why you have that dream wrestler of Sami Zayn, who the fans love him,
Yeah.
wrestlers love him. He has so much, courage and resilience in every single match he has. But there's that one moment we're waiting for of how can he win the championship? And now, after we saw who won, the Royal Rumble, automatically my pick right now for the Chamber, for the Elimination Chamber in Chicago, CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna be facing, of course, Roman Reigns. Go right ahead. Spoiler alert. But Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania can still happen because Cody Rhodes, you ain't got no shot. You're still banned from, going after that championship. Randy Orton, he might be stuck on somebody, might be stuck on, still Cody Rhodes because Cody had that big moment tonight and everything. So there's so many big things that happen in the Rumble, like future-wise for this WrestleMania. We're like, okay, hell yeah. But it still left the door wide open for Sami Zayn going after the WWE Undisputed Championship against Drew McIntyre and finally getting that big win. What were your thoughts on this win here for Drew McIntyre, his title defense here? And do you see a rematch happening, or what do you see happening for his future?
I thought the match was good. I wasn't like blown away by the match. I thought it was good. Again, I thought there were some moments. I wish the Future Shock DT was like a bigger move. He hit it like 4 times in a row. I was like, no one should be kicking out of that, but I know he's kicking out of it. I thought the finish was good, where Sammy, you feel like finally Sammy's gonna get his moment. And Drew Claymore doesn't pin him, hits another Claymore. I think they're going to wait another year for Sammy winning the world title. I think he's going to win the world title at WrestleMania next year because that is in Saudi Arabia. So I think they're going to give Sammy the big win at a WrestleMania, just not this WrestleMania. I still think they want to do McIntyre, Fatu, and Cody 3-way. If that's the Chamber, if that's a WrestleMania match. I think they want to do Drew, Cody. I was shocked when you brought up Rick Boogs. I haven't heard that name in a long time. But I do think, Rami, it's going to be a 3-way. I don't know if it'll be a Chamber. I think I agree with you. I think Punk's going to defend the title in the Chamber, get to his WrestleMania main event. But I think Drew can have another mini feud because I think you still need a Cody Fatu match, like one-on-one. But I still think that's what's interesting about Sammy, right? Because I think they're going to hold off Sammy another year, like another WrestleMania until he wins the big one. Well, that's the case. That puts Sammy like kind of doing nothing again. So it's going to be interesting how they handle Sammy if they do, like I said, wait another year for this WrestleMania title win. But I do think Drew, Fatu, Cody's happening. The question is that like an Elimination Chamber match, 3-way, or is that like the WrestleMania match they won? Is Drew, Cody, Jacob, title change, like maybe give Jacob Fatu a moment at WrestleMania? I don't know. But I think by Mania, we're going to get a 3-way for the world title. That's what I believe.
And that wouldn't be a bad idea at all because it's been a minute since we've seen really a multi-man match happen at WrestleMania where it didn't involve like Roman Reigns essentially. Like, the last time we saw a multi-man matchup was Roman, Edge, and Daniel Bryan about a couple of years back. But the one that people highly tout a lot and say, oh, it's a really great match, even though I don't fucking think it is, was Randy Orton, John Cena, and Triple H at WrestleMania 24. And everyone says, oh, you watch back that match. It's a really good match. Oh, man, they all had the spots in. And that being my first WrestleMania I watched live, I always thought to myself, this fucking shit sucked. And I say that about like, and those three being my fucking favorites growing up, and I'm just like,
Right.
I don't really care about the match. But of course, um, I think that the Roman Reigns and CM Punk story is definitely going to come into play, and then Roman Reigns is going to be like, so you took everything I love, my 2K cover, my
Uh,
wise man, my championship,
you're getting me angry
my
already.
my
Getting me.
work husband, and it's Seth Rollins. Like, what the fuck? Um, but of course we head into this Royal Rumble, men's
Let's
Rumble
talk
match.
about it.
Let's talk about it. Number one, it comes out Oba Femi, and everyone's been freaking waiting for this man to come out, and finally he shows up. Everyone's, smacking their bellies, they're getting themselves ready. And then up next, after the bots that happened yesterday with the ticker on SmackDown, revealing that Braun Breaker was number one, now he's number two. Uh, uh, but before he could even make it to the ring, he gets ambushed, gets his ass whooped, gets hit into the steps, hit with a super kick to the jaw, and then a curb stomp, which we've only seen two people recently do that, and that's the originator, Seth Rollins, who's been out on the shelf with a shoulder injury that happened at Crown Jewel last November, and Austin Theory, who didn't come until freaking what number freaking 15,
Yeah.
and but then this ambush happens. Everyone's shocked. They're like, "What the hell just happened? Was that Seth freaking Rollins?" The
Yeah.
person jumps over that barricade, runs away. Well, after throwing Braun Breaker in there, and Braun Breaker gets eliminated in what 10 seconds. The Sprite out there, gone. Obafemi with his first elimination, and Solo Sikoa comes up next. Rey Mysterio comes up next.
Before you go,
Rusev.
Ryan, I want to talk about the Braun Breaker stuff first before we keep moving. I was like, I did not. It kind of killed the crowd for the first like 15 minutes of this match that he was not in the match. Like it was like shocking in like a bad way. Like they had, and I'm someone who is such like, it's been over a year, right? Like the Raw after WrestleMania, he gets the biggest storyline coming out, which was him joining the Vision last year. And it just feels like we're kind of stuck. Like he's doing Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins, right? At WrestleMania seems like the destination for him. I just think, what are we waiting for with him with the world title? Like, I just don't get it to me. Like, I just don't get Braun, Oba being people chasing things. They're too dominant of guys. Though they were 1 and 2, they were my two picks of the Rumble going in. I was like, I hope one of those guys wins. And when they were 1 and 2, I was like, great, none of them are going to win. Oba had a great showing, which we'll get into, but I just think Braun, it felt like the Rumble was kind of built around him. He ended SmackDown on top last night. And I was like, okay, maybe Braun will be, at least in the final 4 or something. I feel like they're kind of slowing down this momentum with Breaker. Like the Adam Pearce thing is going on. He lost to Punk. They weren't allowing him in the Battle Royal to determine the number 1 contender, which was stupid. They wrote him off TV for no reason. Then he is back feuding with Adam Pearce. I just think we need to do better for Braun Breaker. That's all I'm hoping for moving forward. Like pull the damn trigger on some of these guys. Seriously.
It's the most important thing with Braun Breaker has been like the improvements he's shown. He gets a little bit too. I feel like it gets a little bit sloppy in the ring when it comes to like these high animosity matches. When he gets these big opportunities, he has his minor step ups. So who doesn't have a minor step up or whatever? Like a lot there's people who were rooting for Roman Reigns during his face run 10 years ago, and not many people liked him. And then he messed up a lot of his holds, a lot of his finishes, a lot of the stories, a lot of the promos. But people were like, nope, let's keep pushing him. But not so much for Braun Breaker, even though the guy's a freaking bona fide stud. And the more that he learns and the more he adapts in the situations, we can be able to see him get better. But Braun Breaker getting eliminated was a big shocker. I'm like, okay, if he's number 1 or number 2, he's gonna be like top 3, like final 3, right there, and we're gonna have this like big moment from him.
Yeah,
that was not the case. That was nowhere near the case. He got freaking. But I will say this though, like I do feel like it was not Seth Rollins just yet. I feel like because if for some reason the body type was not fitting, like, Seth Rollins, it looked a little bit shorter.
the beard was though that the guy had.
Yeah, but like it's not really hard to have a scruggly, scruffy beard like that. Essentially, you know what I mean? Especially for a white man. But like when we see like that moment happen, I'm like, okay, whether it was him or not, and whether they're just putting in an imposter just to fill in that spot. You can hit a curb stomp, go right there and hit it. What does this happen for Mania now? Because do we get Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins? Because Seth Rollins was saying in interviews and all these things that like he could be back before Mania. So here's my take now. We have the Chamber match. We have CM Punk versus Braun Breaker versus Bronson Reed versus Logan Paul versus Austin Theory and then Penta or something like that shit. You know what I mean? They're gonna do a whole freaking division at most. And then in the end, that masked person comes back, curb stomps Braun Breaker when he's trying to get out of the ring, like the same way CM Punk got happened to him last year. And then CM Punk pulls him in, Anaconda Vice, tap him out while still looking at this guy like, are you Seth Rollins? Are you like, the guy I've been fucking feuding with for years? Because now, the way CM Punk kind of sees it, if he's going to be in this situation, is I'm off the hook. For the time being, I'm off the hook because Seth Rollins has to deal with the Vision. But yes, we get him, Braun Breaker getting eliminated very, very freaking quickly. Solo Sikoa comes out next. Rey Mysterio. The return of Rusev, who first time we've seen him in about like a month or so.
Yeah, he wasn't hurt. He just was not on TV.
Yeah, he lost to Jey Uso, and they said, "Dude, that's it. You're gone." Then
Seriously.
Matt Cardona came out. Then we had Damian Priest, Javon Evans. Then our first surprise, essentially, was Mr. Iguana from AAA. Trick Williams, Cody Rhodes, El Grande Americano II, followed up by OG Americano, which I thought was holy crap. It popped me, but I also like how the way that Gable looks, not only the physique, like because he's a strong motherfucker, but the beard as well and the hair. I was like, oh, like I can see this stuff. Like that beard looks pretty freaking like rough and tugged. But of course, right after those two, we get the official debut of formerly known as Powerhouse Hobbs, now known as Royce Keys. Wow. First of all, I was just like, oh my goodness, that's a big shocker. But not really a big. I want to say it didn't shock me whenever yesterday I saw an article come out from Jim Ross where he said, "Oh yeah, Powerhouse Hobbs called me and said thank you for everything." So I assume he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I'm like, well, Jim Ross, you know more than anybody because he's been part of the many years ago, of course, for so many decades, and so he knows how the most of these storylines and plans go. But Royce Keys comes out, he gets himself an elimination, but of course, Austin Theory arrives, no one cares. Bronson Reed comes out, big pop. Ilya Dragunov comes out, everyone loves him, and then our next surprise entrant from AAA, La Parka. I thought it was pretty funny. But here was the thing that was funny about it was
that
no
reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first thing I immediately thought of was, dude, didn't he get his leg broken by Bill Goldberg in WCW? Like,
the first Parker, yeah, because this is a different person.
Yeah, there's 4 different versions. This is Tiger Mask all over again. But then we get Dragon Lee, Logan Paul, but here's the thing: La Parka got eliminated, and it feels like the graphics showed LA Knight. Like they messed up a lot. It showed LA Knight, and I looked at my freaking brother, and I was like, LA Knight's up next, and he's like, are you sure? And then his music hit. I'm like, dude, I feel like they're kind of fucking with me here.
What happened too during the women's, like Maxine, like was already looking at the screen, like already was selling that it was Natty coming down, but there were 5 seconds left on the clock. I was like, you can't sell this right now. You have to wait until her music hits to start selling that she's coming out. I was like, wait.
That's what I was even saying. I was wondering, I'm like, what the hell is going on there? Yeah. Then up next, we had at number 22 enter the ring, Brock Lesnar, who was named 44 times in a lawsuit detailing the sexual favors that that him and Vince McMahon were forcing onto Janelle Grant. And now he's been involved in that lawsuit, but he doesn't care because they would rather bring him back to this pop in Saudi Arabia than anything else. And then he gets eliminated by Cody Rhodes and LA Knight in a moment that I don't even think was shown on TV, really. Like, it was like they were focused on Jey Uso yeeting.
Brock's elimination, Brock and Oba's elimination was definitely during Jay's entrance, basically. Basically during Jay's entrance.
Like, Oba, I saw him get eliminated by Brock Lesnar. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, okay, that's all right. Of course, they're going to do the Beast eliminates the monster. And then The Miz comes out, which I thought was hilarious. How he comes in, he sees these two, and he's like, "I'm fucking out of here." Ray Phoenix, which at first the Ray Phoenix, the freaking graphics showed Penta. And I was like, oh, Penta's up next. And then it was Ray Phoenix. I'm like, did they get the brother wrong?
Yeah.
But what do you call it? Jay Uso then came out next, is eating. Roman Reigns came out, told Jay Uso, hey, why don't you do your thing? And then fucking uppercutted him.
Yep.
Jacob Fatu came out, then Penta, then Randy, and then he was number 30. Well, I'm like, okay, come on, let's break the walls down. Let's break the walls down for the learning tree. For the learning tree, people. We got Gunther. And I didn't mind that because I was like, okay, Gunther entered it. Like he mentioned this like in the very beginning of the freaking year. He was like, I'm in the Rumble and nobody's gonna stop me. I love being able to do this stupid voice. But then we get the final four was Randy, Gunther, Roman, and Logan Paul. What's the obsession with that? With Logan Paul being a final four guy 2 years in a row now. Like, you might as well just fucking shoot me straight in the fucking chest with a 12 gauge shotgun and tell me never to tune in for a Rumble again if the final four is going to be like that. But of course, in the end, Gunther puts Roman Reigns in a sleeper hold, move that he's beat every single legend with, basically. But that didn't matter because this ain't Macho Man versus Yokozuna, trying to go for a pinfall after an elbow drop. Roman Reigns tosses out Gunther, and he wins the Royal Rumble for a second time in his career.
Sadly, yes.
And now he will fight CM Punk for the WWF Undisputed Championship. And yeah. This past year, I did not care for CM Punk and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. I just wanted CM Punk to have a main event of WrestleMania because that was my main focus. Was CM Punk deserves his spot at WrestleMania in the main event. I don't care if it's a buy one get one extravaganza. Give that goddamn man his main event already. And then we get the whole Paul Heyman betrayal. I'm like, all right, he got it over the stupidest reasons, and then we got this stupid Vision storyline that never got really anywhere. Nobody really got big pushes except for Seth Rollins, and then we saw what happened there. And then now we get Roman and Punk, and then they're gonna bring up the Wise Man. They're gonna bring up a 2K cover. They're gonna bring up, oh, that's my championship that I never lost, even though he lost to the Cody Rhodes. And then this is gonna be a big clusterfuck. Just generally the biggest and weirdest clusterfuck in the world, because now WrestleMania it's set as Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Vaquer at the moment, and Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. And we've talked a lot about this. Really, we've talked casually around the show about how we were just not happy about this, and it really does resonate. No one's happy about this. If Gunther didn't win it, then who else was the perfect choice to win it except for Braun Breaker, who could have entered number one, ended the match off the final freaking three, and then gone, to have this big moment. But in the end of the day,
I just think it's lazy. I think, Roman got a lot of credit for going on Pat McAfee and kind of complaining about the creative. It's tough when you're it's truth. He's a part-time guy. He shows up like for a month and disappears for 3 months, shows up again, does a pay-per-view, disappears for a couple more months. This is the guy you're rewarding for another main event. And it's no offense to him personally. If he wants to be here full time, then cool. But he like for 2025, he was like barely there in the company this year, like just barely there. And he first of all hasn't. When was his last match? Like months and months and months ago. Like I can't remember the last time he was on freaking TV.
War Games was his last match.
So that's November. It's like late November. So it's basically been like 2-3 months. And he hadn't come back for Raw or SmackDown. He's like, I just think when you weren't going to pull the trigger on Braun or Oba, which I just ranted about earlier, here you have Roman and Gunther. And Gunther just retired 3 guys in a row. I would have gone all in and just have Gunther win the Rumble. Like, make it a monster push for him. But because like Orton, he's not going to win the Rumble. Logan Paul, he's not going to win the Rumble. So you really were stuck with Gunther and Roman. And I guess they want to have Gunther wrestle maybe because based on the Brock Lesnar thing, maybe they're doing Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi, and Oba Femi wins. Maybe they're going to do like Gunther versus Randy Orton for Randy Orton's career. Like, I don't know. It feels like Gunther needs to keep having these matches for people's careers. But I maybe would have stopped that just to do a world title match with whoever. If it was going to be Drew, if it was going to be Cody, whatever they wanted to do. but I just find it to be very kind of the easy and boring pick. He seemed very checked out, Roman, in that Pat McAfee interview, like very checked out. And I don't know, Roman might beat Punk and like wrestle Jey Uso again for the, like, I just don't know. Like, I don't find the bloodline stuff interesting. I don't find Roman compelling at all. He hasn't been really compelling since he lost the title, for the most part. There's been moments where he's been interesting, but he lost to Bronson Reed. Like, cool. That was cool. Lose to Bronson Reed, finally putting someone over. I also was just like, of course, it was like the most obvious pick. He was the obvious favorite. I just feel like it was like the easy, not piss people off. Like, let's just give that, you know, I think they thought this would be like a good thing to end the show with. I just find it very uninspired. They didn't pull a trigger on a new face. And I think they got nervous because they did pull the trigger on someone last year and it blew up in their face. The Jey Uso thing did not work out for really anyone involved. That became a kind of a waste. Like, if you look back a year ago, Jey is still doing the same thing. He's over still with the entrance, but even when he was wrestling in the match, they were booing him every time he was trying to eliminate someone. I think they got very scattershot because they took such a huge risk last year with Jey Uso. And because it blew up in their face, I think it scared them to make another home run swing at the Rumble. I think they were like, all right, we took such a big swing, didn't work out for us. Let's just take a safe, easy pick to win the Rumble so nothing gets messed up in their eyes. And they took Roman Reigns. I really think that's what it came down to. They made a mistake in their eyes last year because they took such a out there swing, and they weren't going to do that 2 years in a row after what happened last year. And they went with Roman Reigns. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. But also on top of that, it's crazy how last year they had the fan satisfaction and the push for CM Punk to win the Royal Rumble and the fight Gunther at WrestleMania, because we're like, okay, give him that big main event against Gunther and let's take it. They fucked up. They fucked up so bad that they had to make Jey Uso drop the championship on an episode of Monday Night Raw just to be able to have Gunther fight Goldberg of all freaking people. And then right after the Goldberg feud, what do they make Gunther do? Go to SummerSlam, have that WrestleMania main event matchup with CM Punk, have an amazing match, get his nose broken, take time off, make CM Punk still feud with Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins gets hurt off of his own dumbass mistakes. And then CM Punk, they're like, hey man, we know we completely I know that a lot of people hate CM Punk. I can understand that everyone's 50-50 about, the certain situations.
Sure.
Here's my thing. If you're booking this guy, you're booking him to be a champion, especially in WWE's eyes. You're booking him to be the world champion because he's the number one guy, he's the number one legend, he's the number one star that's always there. You don't have CM Punk yet, so you don't have John Cena anymore. You don't have Randy Orton on Raw. You don't have Cody Rhodes on Raw. You have CM Punk there. So he's building up all these stars and making everybody look great every single time. Braun Breaker was such a crazy Crash Bandicoot type of wrestler. But when he gets into the ring with CM Punk, he slows it down and he learns. He learned in his Netflix match when he almost went for the championship and almost won it, but then he fucked up. CM Punk is able to make people look so believable, but still keep that championship the way that we know him out. Last year with Seth Rollins, he got hit with 7 curb stomps. Like 7 freaking curb stomps. Come on now, that's over a freaking kill. But then now we're seeing that all those finishes he took is because of that veteran, that ring general mindset, that Bret Hart type of wrestling skill that he basically has. And then instead of them, letting CM Punk and Gunther fight each other, they pushed it till SummerSlam. They realized how big of a mistake they made with Jey Uso. Like, if a kid tells me, yeah, I'd like to see Jey Uso in the main event, I'm putting that kid up for adoption. Like, there's just no freaking way in the world I'm going to listen to a kid and be like, okay, I understand you, kid. If you ain't doing this like Jeff Hardy, if you ain't saying Jeff Hardy should be the main event, then I don't fucking care, kid. Like, deadass, when we were 8, and when I was 8 years old, 9 years old, I'm like, Jeff Hardy, I could see it happening because he broke off from that tag team branch. He became a mid-card champion, and then he worked his way up. Whereas when we see with Jey Uso, he won Intercontinental Championship, but it wasn't more so like, okay, he won an Intercontinental title, man, he's bigger than Obama. He should really, go and, defeat Gunther for the World Championship, as everybody was saying. Who the fuck was saying that? Who? And everyone was like, oh, you're making a big mistake. You got to give Jey Uso a chance. And then he had gassing out problems. and then he just couldn't do anything.
Oh,
Like there was
yeah,
so much
I agree
audio.
with you. I agree with you. I just want to say, like, I am not a Jey Uso person, but I totally respect that they wanted to. He was the hottest thing they had at the beginning of last year. So I respect that they listened to the crowd, wanted to give this guy an opportunity. It didn't work out. And guess what? When sometimes you take as big of a risk as they did by having him win Mania last year, sometimes it's not going to work out. But that really shouldn't stop you from continuing to take risks and do something different.
I get that. Taking risks is a really big thing, of course.
Yeah.
But I want to say that when you take a risk with somebody where you know that they're gonna do a great job,
Sure.
non-tag team wise, give him a chance. His Bloodline Rules match with Roman Reigns was not that great, and I'm not trying to diss on him at all. He's a really good wrestler when it comes to the mid-card scene. But like we always say, those mid-card scenes are specifically built for these guys. He beats Gunther, he chokes him out. No one liked it. So they had to go and have Gunther retire Goldberg. And then they're like, oh, we're so sorry, Gunther, for what we did. How about you go and retire John Cena? Hey, Gunther, we're still sorry for what we did. We know Roman Reigns is going to win the championship tonight. How about you retire AJ Styles? Every time Gunther is basically on this whole like, hey man, you are the greatest star in the company of heels, and you are like the modern day Harley Race, Stan Hansen, and freaking top dog like Bruno Sammartino. And then they're like, yeah, but can you lose to Jey Uso? Can you lose to Roman Reigns? Can you lose to the guy who yeets and gasses out in like 5 minutes flat? And I'm not dissing on him. I'm just saying specifically, if we're gonna get main event people, then we gotta, do something.
Sure.
But then hold on a minute, I got a message here.
No, you're good. I got you. I agree. I don't know about this. Rami Omos should be in the Rumble. He's doing AAA stuff. If you like Omos,
I wish. I love Omos. I'm an Omos sapien. I remember like I've spoken with Omos a couple of times and just telling him how big of a fan I am. And of course, I completely agree. What do you call it? Omos should have been in the Rumble. He should have won it. I completely agree with him.
I just want to finish up too. Sorry, I'll get at that. I do think I think coming in, people like accepted the Roman Reigns thing. Like we're like, all right, he's probably going to win, but let's hope they do something different that shocks people. People are like seemingly not that excited. Obviously, doesn't seem like it's that exciting of a pick. I'm definitely like underwhelmed by it. They could have done something different. They could have done something better. Roman and Punk, I would have done CM Punk, Cody for the title. Like, what are we waiting for Cody and Punk for? Like, it's such a dream match. Also, if you want Braun Breaker to be in a non-title match at WrestleMania, I would have done Braun Breaker and Roman Reigns, have Braun Breaker beat Roman Reigns, passing of the torch match. This guy is the better spear. That's a dream match many people have. But now we're going in all these different directions. Like Roman and Punk were literally in the main event together last year. Yes, it was a triple threat, but it was literally last year. It's going to be the same main event in the same building a year later. And we know we're going to get probably Roman and Rock in Saudi Arabia next year. I find the Roman stuff. It's again, if he's part-time, if you're part-time, I don't hate people that work part-time at all. I totally respect it. I think Roman has earned not having to work at all these shows, but then you can't be winning these matches. Like he can't be doing and that's me. That's the booking. I find it extremely frustrating. They have so many young guys ready to win these titles. And WWE needs youth in the main event title scene. And as I said, we're going to go into WrestleMania and Jacob Fatu could be the youngest person in a world title match on the men's side for WrestleMania. Because you're going to have Cody, you're going to have Drew, 40 or above, I believe. Cody's definitely over 40. I think Drew's close to 40. And then you have Punk and Roman obviously over that. We need youth. And youth. These are the same people in the same main events. That's why Fatu would be an interesting person to put in the mix. And Drew obviously hasn't had a world title match in front of, obviously he won when I went to WrestleMania. But it's Roman and Punk night 2. Like, is that really going to pump people up is the question. That is the question. Like, Punk's going to win the chamber and Roman's going to come out afterwards and we're going to see the reaction. And from there, we go from there. So who knows? Does Roman even show up now for the next month? Until then, I have no idea. I just have no idea.
I would hope he shows up on Monday since Philadelphia was the first place he won the Rumble at and everything, and been like, Philadelphia,
No, that was worse. That
acknowledge
was
me.
worse. That was worse. I remember as a kid hating that whole Rumble in my city.
Me too.
I hate that Rumble. This was obviously better. I didn't think this was a great Rumble.
I will say this, a couple nights ago with my friends, I watched the 2014 Rumble where Batista won it. And looking back on it, I'm like, I don't really mind Batista winning, but I can understand the time being the part-time stuff isn't really fun. But Batista's a lovely, lovely person, so I don't think anyone hates Batista whatsoever. But what was so sad was number 30 being Rey Mysterio and then booing him. Looking back on that, you people are a piece of shit. If you booing Rey Mysterio of all fucking people makes you a big fucking piece of shit. So I hope everybody that night that was in that arena, sitting in a chair, booing the greatest of all time, I hope you burn in hell. But other than that,
I just want to finish with the Rumble as well. I didn't think it was like a great Rumble either. Like there was, first of all, no surprises, really, except for
what was Chris Jericho?
Jericho, now I knew he wasn't going to be on it because if you go to the AW roster page, he's still listed on their roster page, and that always means those people are under contract. So I really knew he wasn't going to show up. The crowd was chanting for him, so that's a good. He'll feel good about that. I just think they did La Parka, who got sadly just no reaction. They did Mr. Iguana, which it's a fun spot. They did, and again, they did Javon, Trick, and Oba, but those guys are called up, so they weren't any like NXT people now on the show for the men. And there wasn't a major surprise. And I thought it was one of those weird Rumbles where we knew who the last two people were, because Gunther declared for the Rumble. Michael Cole said during the Gunther match that he will be in the Rumble. So you knew it was going to end on Orton and Gunther. So it was a very anticlimactic Rumble. There wasn't like a wow moment in the match. I thought the women's Rumble was way better. It had better in-ring. It had better wow moments than the men's Rumble. And I didn't think it was particularly close. And I thought the fans, and it was a more rewarding win. It felt like you were on that journey with Liv Morgan to win the Rumble. Like it felt like a rewarding moment for all
3 years straight, man. You know what I mean?
And here we are ending the show in the most like complete opposite directions. Like Roman again, like is this 2015? It's 2026. And this guy is still being pushed down our throats still. And I feel bad because I don't think Roman's the worst thing of all time. I think he's grown so much, especially character-wise and promo-wise, but this feels very like Vince McMahon book. Let's just have Roman win again, because why not? Cody's won 2 of the last 3, you know? I knew it wasn't going to be Cody, but yeah, this is I didn't hate this Rumble, but I just thought it was like kind of just there, you know? That match.
It's just there, you know what I mean? It's just there. Like, yeah. Okay. Like, wow. But of course, that was the end of the Royal Rumble. Our next show for the PLEs will be Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
Will be the Elimination Chamber at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois.
Woo!
Where we should see CM Punk defend the championship in Chamber. We might see Drew defend the championship in Chamber unless Drew doesn't want to.
Where was Finn Balor, everyone? He was not in the Rumble match.
Neither was Dominic.
What are we doing? Like he literally had
Here's my take. Dominic Mysterio gets injured in December at the AAA show with a Rey Mysterio match, and gets finger or gets his shoulder separated, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna take him off of TV for a couple of months." So it's been almost 2 months now, and Dominic Mysterio isn't there. He's the Intercontinental Champion, and he's not there. So if he was injured to the point where you guys can't bring him on TV for almost over a month, then why is he champion still? Like I don't really appreciate or respect that at all. And I like Dominic Mysterio. I want him to be champion, but you can't hold the division.
I agree, and Finn gets this huge momentum with the Ireland Raw. Like he is a babyface again. He's doing his old theme song. Sure, he loses the match against Punk. And then they create this storyline where it's like the Rumble is too full and Finn can't be in the Rumble. I really thought that was setting up. And then Finn ends Raw beating up Punk and AJ. And Finn wasn't on this show at all. He was the closing look of Monday Night Raw, and he was not even on the show. I am so mystified by the booking. They turned him babyface for 1 week. The crowd, he was over on Monday. They were cheering for Finn. They turned him back heel, and then he's not even in this match. I thought they were gonna do like a Tozawa thing where he would come out, maybe Finn beats him up, takes his place in the Rumble or something.
Yeah, or R-Truth gets taken up by Finn, something like that. They used to do it every year, but then like not anymore, buddy.
I thought, I was like, the whole time I was like, so Finn's like, Miz came out, I was like, all right, so Finn, this is the time, beat up the Miz or something. Or when someone or Phoenix, when Phoenix came, I was like, all right, Finn can beat him up, and then they just never pulled I just don't get it. They have so many guys who do have legit momentum, and they never even like LA Knight. I'm not saying he should be a world champion. Even he seems like he eliminated Bronson Reed and Theory in this match, and he seems like a very much an afterthought. But maybe Finn is in the chamber match against Punk. That's all I can hope for at this point, because he probably should be if he's beating up Punk on Raw. But I'm excited hopefully we have a more optimistic post-show for Chamber.
Yeah, hopefully we have a more optimistic post-show for Chamber.
Yeah.
And hopefully the rest of February goes completely sane for wrestling fans all over the world, because of course there's a lot of good things happening like tonight. Off topic from WWE, but at AEW, Tommaso Ciampa, former WWE talent, will be making his in-ring debut for AEW for the TNT Championship against Mark Briscoe. That's going to be very freaking exciting. On top of that, we have Clark Connors coming over so he can fight Darby Allin and put him through hell. That should be a really fun one. And just so much more. So wrestling doesn't end today with the Royal Rumble. AEW Collision still on. There's still UFC 325, which is on Paramount Plus. If anyone has a subscription, you can watch the big bangs that are going on in Sydney, Australia. But of course, thank you so much to everybody that tuned in, all 988 plus of you. It was very, very fun to come here and to be able to talk about this in the middle of the day. Especially when we get a Saudi Arabia Royal Rumble, we were dreading this, and there's a reason why. Congratulations to Liv Morgan for winning the Women's Rumble side of things. Rightfully deserved, one of the absolute best talent in the ring, and just finally getting her big moment to shine in the main event of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns, on the other hand, but thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. We will see you next time for the Elimination Chamber. I don't know what date that will be. I'm blanking right now. But
28th, I think. 28th, something like that.
February 28th, potentially.
Yeah, 28th.
United Center, Chicago, Illinois, WWE Elimination Chamber. CM Punk will be home. CM Punk will most likely headline that event. So it will be very interesting to see what happens there. But of course, Max, where can they find you on your socials?
Find me at Dinenberg Max on Twitter, Max Dinenberg on Instagram. Please keep up and follow Bodyslam across all of our social media platforms. I do highs and lows for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, and Collision. I post basically every single day on the social media, so that will include Collision tonight. So please follow us on our social media. Blackhawk does a really great job clipping all of our post shows as well. So if you miss any of our live streams, he clips things out, posts it on the social media as well. And then also every Friday at 7 o'clock, Blackhawk and I have a show called Tour of Japan. We break down Japanese pro wrestling. We weren't on this week because there was just nothing to talk about. We fantasy booked Evil in WWE last week on Tour of Japan. So if you want to watch us fantasy book Evil in WWE, you can go check out that podcast last week.
Hey, I just got word about his WWE name. It's gonna be good.
Oh, yeah. That would be very WWE. Good. Yeah, good. With a little apostrophe or something to make it look like it's unique. So if you want to see us fantasy book Evil and a lot of other people in WWE, you can also find us. So that's every Friday here on YouTube and all the social media platforms from 7 to 8. So join us. And also, I also do the post shows for AEW. Last thing, we'll be back. AEW Revolution. Rami will probably be in person. So Blackhawk and I will be doing the post show for Revolution in mid-March. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't believe we almost had, again, 1,000 people watching us again. Truly means a lot. Appreciate it.
Of course, and you can find me on my socials at Who Else But Rami on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, anywhere that you get your fun socials at. In the last month, I've been able to do some really fun interviews with Janai Kai and also Sapphire Reed and Anita Vaughn, a part of a Hyperactive. Very, very fun. I have a lot more interviews coming up this upcoming month and for the rest of the year, doing my best to keep stacking it up. But that's where you can find me at my socials. You can go and watch my reels from those interviews that I did with Janai Kai and with Hyperactive, where I spoke with them about speaking with John Cena, getting advice from Bailey at the Lodestone Seminar, along with Lyra Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Natty Neidhart, and so many more. Plus, there are matches that they're having in the upcoming future and in the past as well. There's just so much that has been going on, and I'm very, very happy and blessed to be able to be doing this and be able to be talking with you, Max, part of these WWE Royal Rumble or any type of EPLE,
Yeah,
AEW pay-per-view post shows,
this is the
giving a
best.
full recap. It really is. It's a breath of fresh air to be able to give our own thoughts and our own opinions. We're not robots here. We have true feelings and true thoughts on this type of
Yeah.
stuff, and it's always fun to see what happens next. But what will happen next will be the Elimination Chamber. And if you're having a good morning, I'm glad. If you're having a good afternoon, hell yeah. And if you're coming home from working a long 9 to 5, I hope you're having a great one. As we brought to you another Bodyslam.net full show results and recap for WWE Royal Rumble 2026. Well, Liv Morgan won the Women's Rumble. Gunther retired AJ Styles. Drew McIntyre stays on top. And Roman Reigns is once again a Royal Rumble winner. Thank you so much to everybody that tuned in. I have been your host, Rami Afif. That right there is Max the GOAT. We will see you next time.